Tonight, terror comes to Bondi.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores.
The Jewish community targeted in a shooting rampage, 15 people killed, Sydney's heartbroken. A father and son behind the murderous attack, one now dead, one under police guard in hospital. Their Bondi rig home raided. A 10-year-old girl, 2 rabbis and a Holocaust survivor among those killed. Their families, friends and the country coming to terms with unimaginable loss. And the very best of humanity on the darkest of days. The heroes who risked their lives to save others, while the city lines up to do what it can.
This is 10 News Sydney with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. We are broadcasting live tonight from Bondi Beach, where unthinkable horror has unfolded that has shaken the nation to its core. It is now almost 24 hours since Australia's worst shooting massacre since Port Arthur, and it began at this world-famous landmark where the Jewish community came under attack. Here is what we know so far. 15 innocent people died in the shooting rampage. 1 gunman also killed. 42 people were injured. The men who carried out this atrocity are father and son. The father, the gunman killed. His 24-year-old son, now under police guard in hospital. The victims include a 10-year-old girl, 2 rabbis and a Holocaust survivor who had gathered here to mark the first night of Hanukkah. We have reporters across the city as more details of this atrocity come to light. And we begin with John Paul Gonzo.
Slaughter at Bondi Beach. The moment Australia changed forever.
Blood was soaking everywhere. I was holding little child. I don't know his name. He was screaming. He was lost. So, and I saw my friends a few centimeters from me. They killed. Blood was everywhere.
2 hate-filled terrorists, a father and son armed with 6 guns, homemade bombs and a thirst to kill at a place that is part of who we are.
Is forever tarnished by what has occurred.
The target, Sydney's Jewish community, celebrating Hanukkah. Children, families, the elderly, survivors of the Holocaust and October 7 had gathered for the Festival of Light. Now, one of our darkest days. Bullet after bullet, the shooting was relentless.
Police was screaming, shouting, lie down, lie down, lie down.
From a bridge overlooking the park, 24-year-old Naveed Akram fired into the crowd.
People just started to run, panicked out of their minds.
His father, 50-year-old Sergeant Akram, hunted from another angle.
That was the first time I saw a human killing in front of my eyes.
15 people were killed.
The victims' age ranges are from as young as 10 to 87. A devastating fact.
Among them, father of 5, Rabbi Eli Schlanger.
There is no replacing him. There is none like him.
Holocaust survivor Alex Kleitman, who died shielding his wife Larissa.
In the middle of the celebration, it was shot, and unfortunately my husband was killed.
French national Dan El-Kayem and young Matilda. These pictures show the 10-year-old at the event, happy, smiling, proud to be Jewish.
Our family was ripped apart. Our family has been shredded. We have suffered an almighty blow here from which I fear we will never recover.
At least 42 people were injured in the massacre, which at times felt unstoppable until an incredible act of courage.
Oh!
Ahmed El-Ahmed took on one of the terrorists with his bare hands, wrestling him, grabbing the gun, then turning it back on him. The tobacco shop owner turned national hero was shot and is in hospital, his breathtaking bravery earning him the highest praise.
People rushing towards danger to show the best of the Australian character. That's who we are. people who stand up for our values.
Friends pulled each other to safety, lifeguards used surfboards as stretchers, police put their bodies on the line, confronting the shooters. 2 officers are still recovering after suffering serious injuries.
Their bravery, their courage in these circumstances saved countless lives.
The Hanukkah event began at 5 on Sunday evening at Archer Park, right next to the famous stretch of sand. Around 6:45, there were frantic calls to 000 as the first shots were fired. People ran for their lives, sprinting along the beach. Others took shelter, some hiding in restaurants. The emergency response was enormous. Police and paramedics swarmed the scene. By 7:30, one gunman was dead, the other injured.
This is an intolerable situation. This is an attempt to break apart our social life, to divide Australian against Australian.
It wasn't only guns. The father and son had improvised explosive devices.
They were found to be active,
but they didn't detonate.
I think they were fairly basic in terms of their construction.
24-year-old Naveed Akram was known to New South Wales Police and ASIO. He was reportedly flagged several years ago for his close ties to a Sydney-based Islamic State terror cell.
There was no indication to indicate that either of the men involved in yesterday's attack was planning the attack that happened yesterday.
Sergeant Akram was allowed to have firearms, holding a recreational hunting licence.
He was a member of a gun club and was entitled, by nature of the Firearms Act, to have a firearms licence issued.
The Premier all but guaranteeing today gun laws will change.
The short answer is yes, we're looking at that right now. We will take every step we possibly can to keep our community safe.
The Prime Minister this afternoon putting forward 2 proposals to National Cabinet for law reform, including limits on the number of guns owned by a person and a review of licence lengths.
People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences should not be in perpetuity.
The immediate focus, maintaining calm.
This is not a time for anyone to be seeking retribution. This is a time for community to grieve and to heal.
At Bondi,
We are grieving. Why?
fury at the arrival of a pro-Palestine activist.
We are grieving. Why you do that?
She was surrounded by police and removed from the scene, the chaos interrupting mourners, remembering lives lost. The Prime Minister, Governor-General and Jewish leaders all paying tribute.
The Bondi community, the people that live here, it's more than simply a geographical connection. It's a connection of people who really love being here, and it's an emotional connection.
Tears and the heaviest of hearts as a shattered community tries to put itself back together after one of the most shocking acts of gun violence in Australian history.
Light a candle, put it in their front window tonight at 6:47 p.m. to show that light will indeed defeat darkness.
John Paul Gonzo, 10 News.
Let's go to Taylor Ryan now, who is at Bondi, where Sydney-siders have been arriving all day to pay their respects. And Taylor, the tributes where you are growing.
Sandra, here at Bondi Pavilion, the steady stream of people really hasn't stopped all day. I want to show you what they've been bringing with them. It's this enormous number of floral tributes. As you can see, some pretty emotional scenes here tonight. People have been gathering to pay their respects, lay flowers. They've been praying. We've seen religious leaders from all over the city come to pray and sing and really bring the community together. It is a very symbolic, way to really describe what Bondi is like as a community. It's a very close-knit part of Sydney. Everybody here knows everyone, is what they'd like to say. But of course, that also means that everybody knows someone who was affected by yesterday's tragedy. And today we've seen strangers consoling each other on the hill here. Many of them came this morning, laid their flowers, and then found themselves unable to leave. They were so comforted by the company of other people. They wanted to stay and connect with their community. And Sandra, I think we'll continue to see much of that happening throughout this evening.
No doubt, so many moving and emotional moments. Taylor Ryan there, thank you. Well, in the hours after the shots rang out, authorities quickly declared the horror that had unfolded had been an act of terrorism. By then, one of the gunmen lay dead. The other, his son, for now survives, expected to face charges alone. Chris Campy takes a look at the men who stand accused of planning and executing the massacre.
Mere hours after an atrocity around 50 kilometres away, police with extended powers under the Terrorism Act train their weapons on a property at Bondi Rig, one the father and son gunmen called home. But it was another residence at Campsie, a holiday rental, where Sajid Akram and his son Naveed put the finishing touches on their massacre. 50-year-old Sajid would die on the now infamous bridge. 24-year-old Naveed alive, but in a critical condition. Family by blood, bound with the motivation of bloodshed. Their beachside ambush catching police off guard.
There was no specific intelligence in relation to the incident itself. We want to get to the bottom of this. We want to understand the motives behind it, and we certainly want to understand the actions that have happened. I cannot give a running commentary on the investigation. I want to give the investigators time to work through this properly.
What we do know is Sajid was a licensed firearms holder for 10 years. He legally owned 6 guns.
Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi.
He was also a member of a local gun club. What he certainly wasn't licensed to hold, improvised explosive devices. 2 found in a car at the scene, since destroyed by the bomb squad.
I believe that they were more rudimentary in that. I think it would have been, there would have been a wick or something similar that would have been used to actually do that. I think they were fairly basic in terms of their construction.
A heavy focus remains on where the pipe bombs may have been constructed. Family members who'd been questioned all night returned to the Bondi Rig home this afternoon and weren't answering anymore. Did you want to make any statements? It's possible the family had no idea what the pair were plotting. Naveed's mother said she'd been getting updates, that he was texting saying he was on holiday for the weekend, fishing and swimming. The revelations of what the pair are now accused of came as a shock to neighbours as well.
No, I don't. I'm glad I don't even know them. I don't want to know them.
What have you learned as a neighbour today?
Oh, geez. We don't know who you live next to, really.
Authorities, though, had a faint idea of who they lived next to. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese today confirming the younger of the pair was looked into by ASIO.
He was examined on the basis of being associated with others, and the assessment was made that there was no indication of any ongoing threat or threat of him engaging in violence.
Any of that knowledge may not have been shared with New South Wales Police.
We are very much working through the background of both persons. At this stage, we know very little about them.
Naveed remains in a critical but stable condition in hospital, expected to face charges as a terrorist.
Chris Campy is outside the father and son's house in Bondi Rig. Chris, any movement there?
No, Sandra, the Akram family household is certainly a much quieter place than it was certainly last night when police tactical Bearcats rolled in here, and even today when police held a cordon around this property with police tape and a command post out the front as state and federal officers went through it with a fine tooth and comb. The family, they were allowed to return to the house a bit after lunchtime. They've had the doors locked since and are saying very, very little. What we do know tonight is that Naveed is in a stable condition. We expect charges to be laid, he being now the only survivor of what has been declared a terrorist incident. It's likely he will face charges as a terrorist. That could well be a bedside hearing when he's well enough. But here at the scene, things are staying pretty quiet. Members of the community have been visiting. There are people taking social media vlogs around at the moment, and people have come here with some anger, some confusion and some grief. So certainly here in the neighbourhood of Bondi Rig, people are feeling this incident very, very deeply as well.
All right, Chris, let's hope it remains peaceful. Thank you. Jewish leaders, heroes and a joyful little girl. These are the people stolen from their families at Bondi Beach yesterday afternoon. Tonight, loved ones of the 15 innocent people are grieving their loss as they remember the lives that were taken too soon.
Remembered as a sunny, fun-loving and sweet little girl, Matilda's day celebrating Hanukkah was meant to be one of joy. Instead, the 10-year-old died in hospital after she was shot at Bondi, the youngest of the 15 innocent people whose lives were cut short. Matilda is survived by her beloved little sister and best friend Summer, by her side when the violence unfolded. Her aunt posting on social media of the family's pain, "I don't know how we survived such grief." Rabbi Eli Schlenger was a husband and father of 5. His newest pride and joy was his baby boy. Speaking to 10 News earlier this year, he prayed for the hostages in Gaza.
It's almost like we are unable to live our normal life so long as even one soul, one person is still in captivity.
He just loved what he did. He loved community. He loved being a messenger.
His brother-in-law today remembering the British-born Jewish leader.
He just, every part of his being was positivity. And, we lost a good one.
Former Detective Peter Marr didn't stop serving his community upon leaving the force, becoming a stalwart at the Randwick Rugby Club, where he devoted a decade of his life. He'd been at Bondi as a paid photographer to capture the day's celebrations. His club now grappling with the tragic irony that after years on the front line, his life was instead taken while pursuing his passion, photography. Rest in peace, Marzo. We all love you and will miss you greatly. 27-year-old Dan El-Kayam was a Frenchman of Jewish faith living in the eastern suburbs with his girlfriend. A lover of football, his club remembered him as a down-to-earth, happy-go-lucky individual who loved the Australian way of life. His smiling face and respectful nature will be sorely missed. Alex Kleitman died a hero, shielding the love of his life from a hail of bullets. He and his wife survived unimaginable violence during the Holocaust, but after 57 years last night, Larissa was forced to say goodbye.
And his body is still there, and I'm sitting here. Don't know what I have to do.
The Jewish community is mourning another leader, Rabbi Yaakov Levitan. His long legacy and contribution remembered today. Reuven Morrison arrived in Australia from the Soviet Union, a much-loved husband and father who split his time between Sydney and Melbourne. Tibor Whiteson's loved ones say he lost his life protecting others from the bullets. The great-grandfather remembered as a man full of life, joy, smiles and laughter. These men among those who were gunned down and killed simply for practising their faith.
I have 2 friends whose husbands have been murdered. Childhood friends, they were both in the year above me. They have children now overseas with my daughter who are coming home for their father's funerals.
These are 8 of the people whose lives were stolen from them yesterday evening. The families of 15 now left with just memories as more lie in hospital in a fight for their lives. Hannah Stewart, 10 News.
Olivia Blunden is at St Vincent's Hospital for us tonight. Olivia, what's the latest on the conditions of those injured?
Well, Sandra, it's understandably going to be another sleepless night for our surviving victims and their families. Let's take a look at the latest stats issued by New South Wales Health on this. And it's important to note that they are changing by the hour. But tonight, 27 remain admitted across Sydney, 6 of them critical, another 6 critical but stable, with 2 children also now on the mend. A great-grandmother is recovering from surgery too, with shrapnel removed from her leg. 2 officers caught in the chaos. At least one is believed to be here at St Vincent's. Their colleagues say they're in a serious condition. Several other civilians have been treated and, in good news, discharged. And that rate is expected to increase as our frontline workers do their very best to send loved ones home. Sandra, as for the casualties that are worse for wear tonight, their families are no doubt waiting and praying for better news by the morning.
Indeed. All right, Liv, thank you. When the gunshots rang out, most people ran for cover. But a 43-year-old father of 2 ran the other way. Ahmed Al-Ahmed was in Bondi with his cousin, grabbing a coffee when terror struck. He became one of the heroes who jumped into action, risking his own life to protect others.
In a moment of chaos and danger, Ahmed Al-Ahmed stepped up without hesitation. The father of two tackled one of the gunmen from behind and wrestled the weapon from his hands. As the shooter backed off, Ahmed put the gun down, signalling he was unarmed. One brave act that no doubt saved several lives. But it came at a cost. The second gunman opened fire on him, hitting Ahmed twice in the shoulder, his cousin rushing to his side.
He was very scared. He was looking, he told me like, I want to die, I love you, stay with me, don't leave me.
Ahmed's parents were also with him at hospital and spoke of his heroism, telling our cameras that their son, who moved to Australia from Syria 13 years ago, doesn't see colour or difference. To him, all lives are equal. A belief that was shared across Bondi. When gunshots cut through Christmas celebrations at the local surf club, volunteers' life-saving skills were called into action.
I think one of the things my son said was, we were there for a reason. And I think he's right.
Grabbing medical kits and using surfboards as makeshift stretchers, they saved as many lives as they could.
The younger members went out while the shooter was still shooting and literally rescued kids and parents from the playground.
Very proud of them, I have to say.
These heroic acts are a testament to how Australians come together in the face of tragedy, and today they continue to do so, many rallying behind Ahmed in his recovery. A GoFundMe has reached almost $1 million and it's still climbing, with donations coming in from around the world, hand-delivered too.
I'm not sure if I would have done the same in his position. He's quite a unicorn in this regard.
Now out of surgery, Bondi's hero can focus on healing, as the shaken community slowly does the same. Tallulah Thompson, 10 News.
Hundreds of extra police are tonight on the ground to try and ease some of the fear being felt by Australia's Jewish community. But beyond the memorial here at Bondi, Australians are paying tribute to the victims of this terrorist attack at Jewish places of worship right across Sydney.
Outside a Bondi synagogue and the Sydney Jewish Museum in Darlinghurst, makeshift memorials, candles, flowers and messages of support at a site that already commemorates the atrocities on the Jewish people.
It's just sort of stopped us in our tracks, really.
As an extra 320 police are deployed across Bondi, bolstering security.
We will continue to increase that number to make sure that the Jewish community feels safe.
For a community that is grappling with grief and fear.
Last night I was having conversations with my 12-year-old daughter who was petrified, and I was not going to deceive her or lie to her, and I don't deceive the community.
Australia's Jewish leaders joined the thousands who today stopped to pay their respects.
The Jewish community is strong and resilient, but today we are shattered and reeling.
Amid the growing sense of sadness and grief, anger too, many Australian Jewish leaders feared an attack like this was possible, as we saw a spike in anti-Semitic incidents right across the country. In just 1 year, they jumped by 300%.
I think the federal government has made a number of missteps on anti-Semitism.
But before any of those questions can be answered, tonight calls for all Australians to wrap their arms around the Jewish community.
So important and critical that we stand together in support of one another, in solidarity with our Jewish brothers and sisters.
Stand next to us, hold us up during this incredibly tough time, and say that anti-Semitism stops right now.
Matthew Carstunen, 10 News.
We know many of the stories shared today are quite distressing. A reminder, if you or someone you know needs support, it is available. You can call the New South Wales Mental Health line on 1800 011 511 or the Lifeline 24-hour crisis hotline on 13 11 14. Stay with us. We'll have more here from Bondi shortly as our extended coverage continues, including the incredible acts of humanity as the city comes together to help and grieve. Plus, the latest from Canberra as National Cabinet meets and the Prime Minister faces increasing pressure to do more to address anti-Semitism in the wake of the terror attack.
Look how beautiful it is.
What a score!
Fight everyone.
How about that?
This summer, let's watch it all on Stan.
Good evening. Well, I'm over Bondi Beach where we've got scenes around Campbell Parade. All lanes are blocked in both directions at Queen Elizabeth Thrive Hastings Parade following yesterday's serious incident. We've also got a lot of pressure for New Southend Road on the approach, and it's a very busy approach on towards Bondi Beach. So best to give the area a complete miss. Also, various roads around Coogee have clearway restrictions in place with ongoing police investigations. I'm Monique Bavino reporting live from the Stan Traffic Chopper.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has placed responsibility for the terror attack at Anthony Albanese's feet. The federal government is tonight defending its efforts to combat anti-Semitism, condemning hatred as the nation looks for an explanation.
Offering a floral tribute and a vow not to let terror triumph.
This is a time where all Australians need to wrap our arms around Jewish Australians.
Extending condolences amid an extraordinary accusation the Prime Minister blamed for the terror attack by Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu.
Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia.
He wrote to Anthony Albanese in August, accusing him of pouring fuel on an anti-Semitic fire by recognising a Palestinian state.
You took no action, you let the disease spread, and the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today.
The Prime Minister not addressing the comments directly.
This is a moment for national unity. This is a moment for Australians to come together. That's precisely what we will be doing.
Many of us have been warning that this day will come.
Former Treasurer and prominent Jew Josh Frydenberg claims protests and fire bombings were warning signs.
They've stood by while the flames of hate have burnt.
Anti-Semitism in Australia has been left to fester.
The opposition accusing the government of ignoring recommendations from its own special envoy to combat anti-Semitism. The PM pointing to the criminalisation of hate speech and a new university student ombudsman.
We stand against anti-Semitism. We will do whatever is necessary to stamp it out.
ASIO had labelled anti-Semitism its top priority in terms of threat to life. There's no change to Australia's terror alert level. It's been at probable since August last year.
Probable means there is a 50% chance of an act of terror.
The federal government this afternoon announced funding will be extended for Jewish security groups, plus work to ensure business losses are paid out by insurance. There'll be support for funerals and fast-track visas for overseas relatives.
To make sure that we maximise the chance for family members to be able to be reunited here at the worst of times.
Further scrutiny will come as Australia mourns. Chloe Boris, 10 News.
Stay with us. We'll be back shortly with more live from Bondi. Returning now to our top story, of course, the massacre at Bondi Beach. So let's get back to Taylor Ryan. Taylor, tonight Bondi is coming together.
Yes, Sandra, even in just the last few minutes since I last spoke to you, the number of floral tributes has grown again. Take a look at this now. You can see still a steady stream of people coming through. They're laying flowers. They've got cards with messages of support and condolence for those who have lost a loved one. It's quite a moving scene down here tonight. It's quite remarkable the amount of people that have come out after work. It was already busy today, and I think it's going to stay incredibly busy into this evening. We have been talking with a few people here about how they're feeling in the wake of this tragedy, less than 24 hours on. Here's a little of what they had to say earlier. When you first heard what had happened here last night, what kind of thoughts went through your mind? What were you thinking about it all?
Oh, I was thinking there must be another Bondi. I didn't think it'd be our Bondi. So, but it is.
You know, we all come together and make sure that, you know, we look after each other, you know, and just be there for each other.
You can really hear the emotion in people's voices there, and it has been like that all day. One thing that a lot of people have been taking comfort in is the company of each other. This close-knit community is really leaning on each other in their time of grief. And we are expecting in a few moments' time the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, to come and pay his respects here at Bondi Pavilion. Sandra.
All right, Taylor, thank you. Yes, this city is rocked to its very core. Across the city, everyone's trying to work out how they can help, and hundreds have queued to donate blood. It's in short supply. Emma Olsen is at a blood bank at Town Hall. Emma, the turnout there, so overwhelming. People are, in fact, being turned away.
That's right, Sandra. The response was so good at the donor centres across Sydney that they reached capacity by 3 p.m. and people started being turned away. Overnight, Lifeblood were urging people to donate blood, O negative in particular, as supplies started to dwindle, with 42 people being taken to hospital after the shooting. I'm down here at the Town Hall Donor Centre, where earlier lines were stretching out the door for 400 metres. In fact, lines were stretching out the door at every single donor centre across Sydney, and not just Sydney, Melbourne too. They had an overwhelming response as states across Australia worked to fly blood into Sydney. Now I'm joined by Hannah from Lifeblood, and Hannah, you want to send a message out to people wanting to donate.
Yes, so thank you to everyone who's come today. The response has been amazing. If you couldn't get into centres today, we are asking people to see if they can make an appointment in the coming days or weeks. Every donation counts, and the need for blood doesn't stop, especially in the lead up to Christmas. And thank you to everyone who's donated today.
And as you'll see behind me, people are still coming here to show their support, which just speaks dividends to the strength of the community banding together to overcome what was an unspeakable tragedy.
It certainly was. All right, Emma. Emma Olsen reporting there. Thank you. You are watching 10 News. Our extended coverage of the Bondi terror attack continues after this.
Look how beautiful it is.
What a score!
Fight everyone.
How about that?
This summer, let's watch it all on Stan.
Good evening. Well, from yesterday's police operation, it continues over here in Camel Parade at Bondi Beach, where emergency crews have blocked all lanes in both directions at Hastings Parade and Queen Elizabeth Drive. We've also got a memorial situation happening here as well. Also, various roads around Coogee have been affected with police clearways, and we've also got bus stops that are not running towards Bondi Beach. A reminder to avoid the area. We do have a fair bit of congestion for New Southend Road and Old Southend Road on the approach to Bondi this evening. I'm Monique Bavino reporting live from the Stan Traffic Chopper.
The terror attack here at Bondi has sent shockwaves around the world, with international leaders expressing their horror and their grief and condemning the mass shooting. King Charles and the US President Donald Trump have been among those offering their condolences to the victims, as a number of countries bolstered their security measures around Jewish communities and events.
It has been a day of terror in Australia.
As the attack unfolded,
Sydney's famous Bondi Beach,
the world watched on in horror.
Dans le choc en Australie.
The ghastly terror attack on Sunday.
Police say the shooting was a targeted terrorist attack on a Jewish celebration.
Well, Australia will never be the same.
In Washington, President Donald Trump condemned the shooting.
It was an anti-Semitic attack, obviously. And I just want to pay my respects to everybody.
And he praised the incredible actions of Ahmed al-Ahmed, who undoubtedly saved lives.
A very, very brave person, actually.
From the US capital to Tel Aviv, Berlin and Budapest.
Our hearts shattered to pieces to hear about our brothers and sisters.
Celebrations to mark the start of Hanukkah became solemn tributes to the victims.
It is intensely personal. We are all 2 degrees of separation at most from people who were there.
The lighting of the menorah ceremonies central to the Jewish Festival of Lights taking on extra significance.
I ask that everyone pray for the recovery of those who were injured.
In Israel, the country's President Isaac Herzog denounced the cruel attack on Jews.
I call and say from here to all our haters, you will never extinguish our light.
Outside the Australian High Commission in London, dozens of people gathered to pay their respects.
Don't be cowed by terror. We're not afraid.
We stand tall.
London, Berlin and New York among the major cities to increase security in response to the attack.
Out of an abundance of caution, the NYPD has significantly increased security around Hanukkah-related events.
In a statement, King Charles said he and Queen Camilla were appalled and saddened by the attack, saying our hearts go out to everyone who has been affected. Thoughts echoed by Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, posting on social media, "Our thoughts are with every Australian today following the terrible attack at Bondi Beach." Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said his country stands in solidarity with Australia. "I am horrified," wrote UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres, and condemned today's heinous, deadly attack. French President Emmanuel Macron said we share the pain of the Australian people. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer described the attack as sickening, while European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen expressed her heartfelt condolences to the families and loved ones of the victims. In Massachusetts, the New England Patriots held a moment of silence to remember the victims of two shootings, Bondi and Brown University, as the impacts of a devastating attack at a beach the world knows reverberate across the globe.
Light the candles of Hanukkah and light up the darkness. And at the end, the light will definitely prevail.
Harvey Biggs, 10 News.
Next on 10 News, Chloe Amanda Bailey has the day in sport.
Good evening. Nathan Lyon insists he has nothing to prove as he prepares to make his return in the Adelaide Christmas Test. Ahead of the game, England has made a surprising concession. Maybe Bazball needs to be reined in a touch.
Nathan Lyon's career spinning full circle at Adelaide Oval. Having famously worked as part of the ground staff in 2010, today he was inducted into the Oval's Avenue of Honour.
I thoroughly think it's the best oval in the world. I thought that when I was working here with Damien, but then to be able to play cricket out here for a number of years now, it's an amazing honour.
Lyon didn't hide his disappointment at his axing in Brisbane, but the spinner says there's no chip on his shoulder.
No, I've played 140 Test matches. I feel like I don't have a point to prove to anyone. As I said, I'm very clear on my role within this Australian cricket team.
But there's still very clearly fire in the belly, with a chance to make history. Lyon is just 1 wicket shy of Glenn McGrath's all-time Test wickets tally, and then it's just Shane Warne ahead.
Potentially it may be like a little fairy tale, I guess, when you look at it, when my history here with working here and the dream, playing Test cricket, and my first ever Test match here was on the roller here.
Usman Khawaja could come back into focus in Adelaide. He made his case again to selectors in the nets today. However, it was Travis Head who was facing the new ball. Pat Cummins, meanwhile, was showing no signs of his back injury. On the brink of an Ashes humiliation, England's batsmen are wondering if Bazball needs to be more of a sometimes food.
Sometimes we've got to rein it in a little bit. Learn when to absorb the pressure a little bit more, and then realise when the opportunity arises to put pressure back on them.
Brooke, not blind to the nature of his dismissals this summer.
No, they were shocking shots. I'll admit that every day of the week, especially that one in Perth. It was nearly a bounce, and I've tried to drive it. It was just bad batting.
Lucas Ronaldo, 10 News.
Test great Merv Hughes is tipping the tourists will show more still in Adelaide. Hughes has also backed veteran Usman Khawaja to return to the top of the order. He sat down with Nick Butler.
OK, third test is upon us and Merv Hughes is with me. Merv, we head to Adelaide. Can we wrap this thing up?
You'd like to think so, the way the English have been playing. But the one thing that concerns me is the post-match with Ben Stokes after the Brisbane Test. He virtually labelled their team soft.
Let's talk about it. Usman Khawaja. Not for me, I'm happy to move on, but you're the ex-selector and you've played at the level. Do we bring him back and does he play in the middle order?
If he's fit, he's still in the squad for a reason. And if he's fit, I'd be looking at Usman Khawaja at the top and Travis Head back down to 5 and Green at 6.
Travis Head is an opener. I know we've all fallen in love with it. We loved what he did to get us over the line. Technically, and put your selector hat on, is he an opener?
But Travis Head at the top of the order has been exciting. But I'd prefer to see him down at 5 and Khawaja open. And especially in Adelaide, you would think Adelaide, it's a day game. It's going to be a tough grind.
Two more fast bowling questions. Firstly, do you back Cummins first up to do the business?
Yeah, if he's not right, he won't play. I'd almost be in a selector's position. If you're there, you'll be saying, well, we're 2-0 up. We don't really need to rush him back.
Okay, final one. Jofra Archer, he's copped it from all parts. Over the top or justified?
It just seems that he switches it on when it suits him. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the best of Jofra Archer.
We love your insights on 10. Get over there and enjoy Adelaide.
Without doubt, it's going to be a great game. Go the Aussies.
There he is, the great Murphy's.
Nick Butler there, thank you. And Sandra, that is the day in sport.
All right, Chloe, thank you. Now, stay with us at home. Josh has his latest forecast next.
Good evening. Quickly updating you on the weather in and across parts of New South Wales. It was a fine day for most areas. As you can see, relatively cloud-free, with the exception over the border in Queensland. We've got some very slow-moving thunderstorms tonight, delivering a burst of heavy rain across that region, and we could see some of that evolve through New South Wales tomorrow. You can see a broad area of high pressure muscling on in, dominating the chart as we get through Tuesday. But you will notice this trough just lingering and entering those northern areas of New South Wales tomorrow. So we could see those slow-moving, near stationary storms deliver quite heavy rainfall in isolated areas, which may lead to flash flooding. You can see here on the forecast modelling some of those showers and thunderstorms popping up tomorrow during Tuesday, around about lunchtime onwards, and in particular across parts of the northern inland with that very heavy rain. So we'll be keeping you up to date on that, but most areas of the state do look relatively calm as we get over the next 24 hours. Looking at the big picture across the nation, we are expecting the rain to ramp up through northern Australia this week. We usually see that in the run-up to Christmas time and the impending monsoon. 34 degrees for Darwin, showers evolving for Cairns, possible thunderstorms and 32. Further south, Melbourne, partly cloudy and 21. Sunny skies for Adelaide, 30 degrees for Perth and partly cloudy for Tuesday. Moving back home and through the inland, it will be sunny for Broken Hill and hot, 38 degrees at top, 33 for Dubbo and 24 degrees for Orange tomorrow. Sunny skies for Wagga, 28 degrees for Canberra, and through the states north. Obviously, it will be a little bit cloudy as that trough lingers through the area and those showers and thunderstorms feature through the region. 22 for Richmond and 23 for Penrith. Those mild temperatures persisting as we get through tomorrow, all due to that very strong southerly change that hit Sydney last night. You would have noticed that at home. 22 for Bankstown and Campbelltown. Moving into the offshore waters, southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots as we get through tomorrow, and 23 for the city. It will be cloudy, but it should remain dry as we roll through the next 24 hours. As we get through the next week, we're expecting partly cloudy skies Wednesday, 30 degrees on Thursday, and it will remain fine and sunny. 31 with a possible shower Friday. At this stage, we could see some thunderstorms over the weekend. But back to you, Sandra, down at Bondi.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Sandra Sully. Thank you for joining us here on 10 News. Our extended coverage on the Bondi terror attack continues now with 10 News Plus. Denham Hitchcock, Amelia Brace, standing by to bring that to you now.